Hey, what's going on? Nick here from virtualassistant.com. I'm joined by Bryan Miles from Belay at belaysolutions.com. Bryan, thanks you for joining me, man.
Nick, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I really appreciate it.
You bet. So Belay is like a conglomerate now of 4 or 5 different services, yeah?
Yeah. So we took 5 of our companies that my wife and I own with the parent company that was included. We own it all. So we had a virtual bookkeeping company, a virtual assistant company called eaHELP, a virtual webmaster business, and a virtual writing service. And we took all of those 5 companies and we merged them into basically one large company called Belay.
Okay, so it's admin under eaHELP is probably the brand that virtual assistant visitors are going to be most familiar with. There was a bookkeeping arm, a content writing arm, and then like the technical support arm. What was the 5th one?
Well, in our parent company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all of those, and so that basically that brought us to about 70 full-time employees here in Metro Atlanta.
Okay.
That's our corporate team. And then we have our contractors that actually do the work for our customers. And they're all over the United States.
So all American based, but all remote.
That's correct. Yeah. So we don't have what blows a lot of people's minds is we don't have a corporate office.
Okay. Even with 70 full-timers?
Yeah. All here in Metro Atlanta. So it's our corporate folks are, folks like sales, marketing, HR, finance, operations types of roles that don't actually work with the client every day. But our contractors are the ones that are our assistants, our bookkeepers, our writers, our webmasters. And there's 500 plus of those around the United States.
Wow. Okay. You ever have an all hands meeting like in Atlanta?
Do,
like get everybody in the same room for once?
We do in Atlanta. We circle the wagons, for different reasons with our corporate team. And then we do webinars and we do Zoom related events with our contractors as well. Whether it's service line specific or if there's big company updates or things like that, we do circle the wagons virtually.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Well, tell me about, so you guys have been in business for a long time. You've been Inc. 500 award winners and you've been growing like crazy. Have you found there's a particular industry that you serve or particular specialty that clients are looking for and they turn to you more often than anything else?
We started back in 2010 working just with churches. And over the course of the last 7 years, we've been able to work with 30 different verticals or industries, everything from tech startups to physicians to attorneys to pastors, authors. We really are kind of vertical agnostic, if you will. We find that we work with organizations or with leaders that are really just out of breath or they want to delegate in a different way. And that could be an established big company to startup companies and everything in between.
Okay.
So I would say that we've had great success in healthcare. We've had great success in technology and the nonprofit space, especially with churches and pastors around the United States. Those are some predominant verticals that kind of bubble to the top for us.
Okay. So let's say I come to you and say, Bryan, I'm drowning here. I could use some help. I'm trying to run this online business and I don't know, where do you have people starting from? Is it that, administrative help, like just get me out of my, mundane tasks? Or is it like, well, you really ought to, I've heard getting somebody to help with your books is like, the first hire that many, many people make. It's like, I just can't deal with the accounting stuff. Like, what do you see most often?
Well, I think, what happens, that's generally the conversation that happens with our solution consultants, our salespeople, when they talk to our, when our prospects talk to us, what we hear is, I just don't know what the next step is. Like who or what do I yield up or empower or hire in order to kind of free me up to be the next, iteration of a leader I need to be for our business. And it really just depends on the person. It depends on the need. Sometimes they have, their balance sheet's not balanced, so they need help with bookkeeping, or they're 13 months behind with their reconciliation, their bank statements, and they really don't know where they stand financially. That would be a good place for you to go ahead and get some solid footing and hire a virtual bookkeeper.
Okay.
Or you got a nice letter from the IRS saying, hey, you made a boo-boo with your payroll taxes, right? So there's things like that are like obvious, and then the not so obvious ones are where you find as a leader that you're doing the things that are less payoff oriented, for your business. Like, you're working on low payoff activities, like you're booking your own travel, you're managing your own email, you're managing your calendar. Whereas, you could have other people come in that are really good at this and actually could do it, tons times faster than you, that's the place where you need to give that up and give up the ghost on that so that you can become a better delegator, a better leader.
Yeah. Do you find it's like, solopreneurs like me or people who already kind of have a small team in place?
I used to think it was solopreneurs, but I found that it's solopreneurs plus, we, on the other side of the spectrum, some very highly paid executives in corporations. What I find is that a lot of leaders like the idea of delegation, but they actually don't or never been taught how to actually delegate.
Okay.
And that's one thing I'm really proud about our business. So we've had many people tell us that, hey, you're the first company to ever teach us how to delegate. And that's been very rewarding. And then we see the payoff of it. We see them, they get in a position where they're freed up to spend more time with their family, or they're making that strategic initiative in their business because they have the time to do that, or they're finding more sales because they've been freed up, or whatever that thing is that they've been called to do. It's been really cool to see how we come alongside our customers in that way.
Fair enough. Is everything custom quoted, or are there some like off the shelf, like a la carte packages that people can check out and buy?
Really, it is a custom quote. We want to, we jokingly say this, but we want to qualify our customers as much as they qualify us. And so we want to make sure we're a good, right fit. So that's the first thing, is we start with a conversation. I know a lot of people, they want to see pricing on our website, and we don't have any problem with sharing our price. The problem is we don't want to share the price with people we know would never become our customer, because it's a waste of their time and ours. And so we want to make sure that we're a really good fit, and that the solution makes sense for them, and they've got the budget for it. They've understood that. But then in a particular service of ours, say it's a webmaster, it's more of a package. With what your virtual webmaster does for you versus a virtual assistant, it's more hourly driven on a per month basis. So there's a little bit of variability with our service line. But at the end of the day, price is something that we feel is secondary to making sure we're a good fit for our prospects. Okay.
So someone who's super price sensitive is not a good fit. Anybody else who's not a good fit?
Jerks. We don't work well with jerks. We don't, we free their future to go find some other, company to wreak havoc on. But no, people who are very price sensitive, I totally respect it. It's just that we're not going to be the right fit, in the sense of, if they're valuing work that's being done, that might be something that's the premium to them, is the value is so little. And we don't see it that way. We find the best people to come work in our organization. In our virtual assistant service line as an example, we have over 1,000 resumes a month that come in.
Wow.
And we contract with less than 1%. And that's a month. So we have a team, an army of people internally that cull through these resumes to find great people, and great people aren't cheap. Great people cost a lot of money that represent our company. And so if they're looking for cheap, there's better solutions that are available to them that we're just not, going to be able to provide.
Yeah, 1%. I was listening to an interview with another VA company founder, and she affectionately called her hiring process the gauntlet. She's like, if you can make it through the gauntlet, you're good enough to work for us. And I was like, it sounds like you got something similar here, where that's a very selective recruiting and screening process.
Test them. Yeah, we are. And I love the word gauntlet. We do test them, and it's a long process. It's not like we just take anybody in as a virtual assistant or a bookkeeper. You need to have experience. You need to be qualified. You need to be able to represent yourself in a very professional, virtual way, and there's some people that they like the idea of working from home, but they think that that's supposed to be easy. And we tell our folks, when you work from home, it's actually really hard. It's just that you're working from home and you have the beautiful thing of flexibility with that. So we qualify them, we test them, we do a lot of things to make sure that we're putting the folks that represent us every day virtually, that we're really proud of them, and that our customers be proud to work with them too.
Well, sounds good, Bryan. Appreciate you joining me. I understand you've got a decision matrix or decision guide to help people figure out okay, where do I get started with all this stuff?
Yeah, we often, as you can imagine, people like the idea of hiring or outsourcing to an organization that could help them or come alongside them in different capacities. And what we find, like I shared with you earlier, is that they just don't know where to begin or who that role is, whether that's a bookkeeper, a webmaster, an assistant, or a writer. And we've created a decision guide that we basically help navigate the conversation to kind of bubble up or prioritize who would be that right next hire for you, for your organization, or through our company or not, through any organization that provides these services. So it's a good tool. and be happy to, share that with you, and that you can share that with your audience. We definitely think it's a good value add for them, for sure.
You bet. We'll link that up in the notes below this video on YouTube and on virtualassistant.com. So you guys check Bryan out at belaysolutions.com, and we'll go check that out. I got to figure out my next hire as well. So appreciate you taking the time to join me, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Nick. It's been great. Appreciate it.